Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Retail Refresh, the show where we talk about everything to do with retail media and technology. I'm Rob, and I'll be one of your hosts for today.
And I'm Jazz, your new co-host.
Delighted that you are joining the show, Jazz. And for our curious audience wondering where our old co-host Sabrina went, she is on extended leave to follow her dream of teaching narwhals how to read. We wish her luck in this very important endeavor.
Somebody's got to do it.
Exactly.
And it's not going to be us because we're already too busy gearing up for the holiday season.
That's right. I've already started working on slickening my roof.
What?
Slickening, making slick, so Santa falls off.
Right. Why, though?
It's the Santa Claus. I put on the suit and I'm the big guy. And you know that I'm on a mad quest for power.
Somebody needs to talk to you about this. But for now, I actually want to talk about a new report from our friends at Native Touch. They've got some great insights into the holiday grocery projections in Canada for the coming year, and for tips on how brands and retailers can best prepare.
Any tips on which cookies to use for Santa bait?
Okay, we're moving on. Our guest today is Saad Uddin, the co-founder and CEO of Native Touch, a mobile-first omni-channel ad tech company, and CEO at Candy Banners, a digital ad development studio. Saad is an internet entrepreneur and visionary in the digital space. Throughout his nearly 15-year-long career, his central focus has been on emerging ad tech product strategies and fostering a world-class team to deeply understand the needs of brands, brand marketers, and help meet their goals. Saad, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
To provide a little context for our discussion, can you give us a quick overview of what Native Touch does?
Yeah, sure. So we're an advertising technology company. We build audience measurement and creative products for brands and ad agencies who are really looking for innovative alternatives to the big platforms. And we do this through building out products with our proprietary data sets that we're able to customize for our customers depending on who they're trying to reach.
Awesome. So today's conversation is all about digging into the Holiday Grocery Shopping Insights report that you put together with Cubic. Can you give us a little background about what you set out to accomplish with this research?
So what we see is that there are many macro and micro drivers that impact shopping in general, and grocery shopping being a subset of overall shopping. We saw that during COVID, the use of food ordering apps shot up as people were fearful of going to stores, were restricted from going to stores, and everything in the middle. And there was also a little extra money going around. The government provided subsidies. So that changed quite a bit of behavior quite quickly for consumers. Now, with a few changes, one, the fear of recession. It's been going on for a year and a half now. Rising rates, so specifically interest rates, and job security concerns. We wanted to see how that would impact grocery shopping for the upcoming season using predictive technology.
Yeah, inflation in Canada, especially around buying groceries, has been one of the biggest stories in the country for months. What are some of the data showing us about the effect of inflation on the way that we shop today?
So definitely prices have increased across the board as it relates to just general products as well as grocery products. We've seen that in the news, media, and definitely this has happened over the last couple of years. A lot of it really kickstarted with COVID. However, we are seeing a big return to shopping in store. This is driven by consumers wanting to avoid hefty Uber Eats or online grocery delivery fees, which initially a lot of these firms provided incentives to get you hooked on them. And now people are starting to realize how much it actually costs. If ever you wanted your burgers or pizza, whatever you're ordering, a little bit quicker, you add that $2.99 surcharge, and eventually all the surcharges add up. We're also seeing Canadians continue to shop. They're being extremely selective about where they shop. Specifically, are they going to more discount stores for specific products, or are they going to grocery stores and so on, and are becoming much more promotional driven. As supply is starting to ease up across specific categories, now you have much more choice that we didn't have for a while.
And the holiday season, which I mean, it's in the title, it's the point of this report. It's a bit of a special time in terms of people's shopping habits. So I am curious, what impact are elevated prices and the rest of it going to have or likely to have on shopping habits around the holidays this year?
So the interesting thing is whenever we go out to do a data study, we're always expecting dramatically different results than the previous year. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. However, when we look at predictions for this Q4, we're seeing that there is going to be some level of consistency in terms of foot traffic. Specifically looking at the data for previous quarters and last year, we're predicting that the foot traffic will be similar. What will change, however, is that supply constraints, as I mentioned earlier, will start to ease up across multiple categories. We've seen shelves were empty across different categories. Now they're starting to be more and more full. So the options that customers have are greater this season when compared to previous years. For non-food items, we're predicting that Black Friday period might drive more revenue for brands, as people will be more price conscious than previous years. So knowing that I don't want to get too close to the holidays before I go shopping, I want to do it a little bit earlier to get all the deals.
That makes a lot of sense. I've already started talking to my wife, pestering her about what we should get the girls for Christmas this year. So I'm not alone, I guess.
No, definitely not. One of the points from your report that I found really interesting was around this Christmas rush period, which I think is defined as those 3 days leading up to Christmas. And you're saying the data is suggesting that advertisers should be looking to maintain their spend throughout this period to reach those last minute shoppers. Can you speak a little bit more about that?
That's right. That is what we're recommending. Marketers who capitalize on the nuance of what we observe will benefit. And that's very important, is that a lot of marketers typically will just spray and pray, or they'll set their budgets for a specific period. What we saw with our report is the difference between specific days. So for example, although we predict traffic in convenience stores will be flat year over year, it's important to note that it really picks up during the Christmas period. So you can actually see it spike. So great time to be in market for that category. As opposed to all the other categories that we observe, which are all down during those few days, but up for the days prior and the days after. Keep in mind, though, that weather patterns will also have a huge impact on foot traffic versus online purchases, and that applies to the grocery category as well. One of our clients is active only during the Christmas period, so only during December. It's a very specialist business, huge business. And the patterns across their business from one region to the other, so looking at one province or city to the other, based on weather, are pretty stark. So you can see dramatic differences just based on weather, and which will have a great impact as well.
I can appreciate that. Yeah, as a last minute shopper myself, I can appreciate it being the most valuable time to reach people like me.
And something that stood out to me as well in this report, and I don't want to give everything away here, but you did some modeling on where shoppers are likely to spend on food this holiday season. And I was a little bit surprised, honestly, by a couple of the categories. So can you talk a little bit about which categories tend to see the most shoppers, or maybe see the most increase in shoppers during the Christmas rush?
Sure. What we expect is year-over-year traffic to be pretty consistent across all the categories that we observed: mass, convenience, discount, and so on. So we do expect that consistency to continue year over year. Whereas if we looked at 2021 versus 2022, we saw a big increase in 2022, just because restrictions eased up. But to what I was mentioning a little bit earlier, it's important to note that being strategic down to the day and time of day will be super key. So when people are shopping during the day is super important. What days they're actually shopping is super important. So if it's more of so of an impulse purchase, you want to start to message them right before those periods, as opposed to messaging them completely off, not aligned with when they actually visit the location.
I think the one that stood out to me the most was convenience as being kind of a significant area to advertise in the Christmas rush period. I think about like last minute Christmas shopping. I'm thinking about the dad forgot to buy the turkey or something. You know what I mean? But it's interesting to think about like, oh yeah, there's a real opportunity here in these other sorts of environments that maybe wouldn't be top of mind for advertisers looking to connect with folks like December 23rd or something.
Yeah, I also think the way that we think about convenience stores has changed so drastically over the last 10 years. The amount of product range that they offer, I can definitely see that contributing to that as well. You have a few best practices that you recommend for success in advertising during the holiday season. Could you share a couple of those with us?
Yeah, sure. Foot traffic is expected to remain strong. Definitely a big shift from a couple of years ago. Once again, due to restrictions. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that the foot traffic that is going towards your stores or towards the stores where your products are available, you want to make sure to capitalize on it. We recommend investing in the audiences that have responded well to your advertising or to our clients' advertising over previous years, and focusing on converting them into new customers. So those audiences that have been responding well to your ads, converting them into customers, or converting existing customers into recurring customers. And that's really where the opportunity is, that we're really promoting to our customers.
So we ask everybody some variation on this question and we're going to make you talk about the Christmas rush period specifically. To capitalize on the Christmas rush crowd, what do you think would make for an impactful in-store digital media campaign? It could be alone, it could be part of a larger omni-channel effort, but just looking to provide some inspiration for the folks watching or listening.
Sure. That's a great question, because ultimately, best practices tend to be pretty copy-paste year over year or from one platform to the other. One of the areas that I think marketers neglect quite heavily, because it's hard, to be fair, is creative. Good data can only bring you so close to the customer. So let's say you find that customer who's right-handed, who plays ice hockey, and is looking for a new stick, right? Let's say you find them. Now, how do you actually message them? How do you actually reach them? And separating the signal from the noise is super, super important, and creative is the best way to do that. It's important to think about what type of creative your customer responds to, one. Two is what type of creative is relevant to the channel. So whether it's a digital media campaign or omni-channel, each channel has a consumer has a different experience with each of these channels. It's important to consider those channels when you're planning out your creative as well. So super important area to invest in, so you're able to really stand out from the rest of the market.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Is there anything else that you think our audience should know?
Yeah, I think what's very important is to not get stale with your strategies. What worked last year may or may not work this year. Although we see foot traffic as a small example, we see foot traffic consistent across specific categories. It is important to dive a little bit deeper, look at time of day, look at a day of the week, and so on, and to not get complacent with the data. So always be open to learning something new by looking at the data and making some predictions. There are algorithms that can make predictions for you, which is what we did in this scenario, but then also using some market research and insights from previous campaigns to make some predictions. So it's very important to look at the data very closely, take some guesses, do some A/B testing. Super important.
Sound advice. Saad, if people want to reach out to you, connect with Native Touch, where are the best places for them to go to do that?
According to the study, a grocery store, but on a serious level, you could just reach out. You could find us on LinkedIn. My email address is saad@nativetouch.com, SAAD@nativetouch.com, and I'd be able to help out and chat at any time.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.